Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button on your life?
Rewind.
Would you rather meet George Washington or our current president?
I'd have to go with George Washington, just because like the media nowadays, I feel like you know a lot about a person's life just by watching TV or whatever. And there's not much information on his personal life, so I think that'd be pretty interesting.
Would you rather have more time or more money?
I'll go with more money.
Would you shrink to the size of an ant or grow to the size of a skyscraper?
Ant by far.
Would you rather listen to music from the 70s or music for today?
Today, obviously, like my boy King Von, Lil Durk. Shout out Von, R.I.P. 70s isn't bad, but today just bangers only, you know what I mean?
Would you rather go deep sea diving or bungee jumping?
Bungee jumping.
Would you rather have a mullet or a man bun?
I'd rather have a man bun.
Today on Panther TV, damaged roads can put you at risk. Find out how to keep your vehicle safe.
It's a new sport at school, but already the Plymouth swim team is finding success in its first season.
And it's March, but in 2021 that means football season. These stories and more coming your way on Panther TV.
Good morning, Plymouth South. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ainsley Richardson.
And I'm Jennifer Rowland. Winter is nearing its end, but the wear and tear from winter weather and the mess it can create on our roads isn't over. Here's Panther TV's Michael Conway with more on how you can keep your car safe from costly repairs.
If there's one characteristic about New England we could all agree on, it would be the harsh winter weather. From fallen trees to freezing temperatures to nor'easters, it's undeniable the amount of damage and harm these conditions can cause. However, one often overlooked aspect would be the damage it can cause to roads. Plymouth South automotive teacher Randy Cabral has been fixing cars and teaching students how to for over a decade. He knows all too well just how costly and dangerous winter wear and tear can be.
Winters in New England can really take a toll on cars versus like if you go to buy a car and you find it down south, they're much less rusty, a lot better condition. The salt, the snow, the sand, the moisture, all hurt cars up in New England.
So we asked, what does this wear and tear look like and how can you best prevent it?
Some of the rust that I'm talking about on your components is stuff like this. Being able to wash up back inside of here, all the dirt in there that gets caught around your suspension components and your steering components. Making sure that there's no salt left on it at the end of the snow season.
But it's not just the harsh weather conditions and road treatments that can be harmful, but damage from potholes ripped up by plows that can also take a severe toll on cars.
So we have the strut right here with that coil spring, and hitting certain bumps could create the coil spring to break, or could blow the shock. There's oil inside the shock and it could make the oil leak out and it wouldn't dampen anymore, so it would just then be a free-floating coil spring. We have our steering components in here. If you hit a certain pothole, you could bend this tie rod right here, or you could blow out the joints on the ends, hurt the steering rack, depending on what type of bump you're hitting.
And while a pothole could be considered the state flower of Massachusetts for appearing in the springtime, it's important to remember the damage they can cause roads and vehicles. I'm reporting for Panther TV, and I'm Michael Conway.
After a few years at central office, Mrs. Fry is back at Plymouth South to stay. Panther TV's Lily Christian sat down with Mrs. Fry to get to know her a little better.
The name Miss Fry is familiar to almost everyone in the Plymouth Public Schools, but for students at Plymouth South, this is their first experience with Miss Fry as their principal. I sat down with Miss Fry to discuss her return at Plymouth South. From 2005 until 2016, Miss Fry served as principal of Plymouth South. even being named Massachusetts Principal of the Year in 2015. Shortly after that, she was called upon Superintendent Dr. Maestas to take on a new role.
Then 4 years ago, Dr. Maestas asked me to go work with him up at Central Office as Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, which is a fancy name for I was in charge of all dealings with the staff. So Plymouth has about 1,300 employees.
After 4 years working in Central Office, Plymouth South was in need of a new principal in the midst of a pandemic.
I came here this spring. When we had the opening here, Dr. Maestas again said, you know, what do you think? Because during a pandemic, no one really expected a pandemic. None of us predicted this. And a lot of people won't leave a job they're in during a crazy time. And at the same time, Dr. Maestas was retiring, and the school committee was in the process of hiring the new superintendent. So as a principal, as a high school principal, you work directly for the superintendent. So trying to get someone to apply when they didn't know who it was going to be and all that. So we kind of came to the idea that I would come back on an interim basis because I've been a principal a really long time and I love being a principal.
In January, that interim basis became a full-time as Miss Fry announced her intentions to stay at Plymouth South rather than to return at Central Office. One thing Miss Fry really enjoys about being principal is interacting with students and teachers every day, but getting to know a whole building of new students this year hasn't been easy.
It's hard getting to know students behind a mask, and we're all doing a great job with it, but getting to know you guys in the way I am as a leader is very, very difficult. Because it's just strange when we have small assemblies and groups. It's just not natural, and you just don't naturally interact like we used to before this. So that's the biggest challenge that I have.
In these difficult times for all, Ms. Fry shares some of her goals to improve the student life, especially for seniors at Plymouth South as they finish out their high school career.
My job is to make a great school that's safe for students, and I want to offer as many opportunities as possible. And I feel terrible for students, especially the senior class, that this is going on right now. And if I had a magic wand, I would have it all go away. But I think if you have creative ideas, come find me. Like, you can still come to the office, you can email me. It's complex because it's like you're only here a couple days a week. But I want ideas on things we can do for you guys. I'm not always going to say yes. I'll always kind of work through a plan. I'm kind of a planner.
We are glad to have Ms. Fry back in the halls and so grateful for everything she's doing during these very difficult times. Reporting for Panther TV, I'm Lily Christian.
We will be right back, but first, a word from our sponsor.
Today, I'm here to show you my newest product, the Speedy Scrub.
Speedy, what?
The Speedy Scrub, the newest technologically advanced product that humans have been demanding since the beginning of time. It can clean up soda, water, juice, literally anything. But don't go anywhere, because I will karate chop this offer in half. That's right, you don't get one, but 2 Speedy Scrubs for the price of 1. Remember, scrub on, and more importantly, buy our stuff.
For years, swimmers have only had the option to compete outside of school, but this year that changed with the inaugural season of the combined Plymouth North and South swim team. Here's Panther TV's Tyler Spicer with their story.
Having a high school swim team is a big step and a long time coming with the size of our community. For dedicated swimmers, being in the pool isn't just a hobby. It takes hours of hard work and time in the water each week to perfect the craft. Up until now, much of that hard work has gone unnoticed in school.
A lot of people have been waiting for this for a long time. Based on the turnout we have, we had 29 girls, 10 boys, though clearly there was a need for the team, and really happy with the results for year 1.
Head coach Dave Wilson led the combined Plymouth North and Plymouth South team in its first season this winter. Not only did it take work to start a brand new program, doing this during COVID also created some challenges, but the team worked through it.
We've had 3 lanes each night, and we've had 3 different practice groups, so we kind of split it up between the more experienced swimmers, then that medium group, and then kind of the beginners.
The major difference was that all meets were held virtually. Still, Coach Wilson was pleased with his team's success in a modified season and has high aspirations for the future.
Yeah, the goal, individually, just improve daily. We haven't had very many practice opportunities this year, which has been a little tough. But long-term goals, we want to become a perennial state contender. I think we have the talent this year. If we had a state meet, I think we could have been a top 10 team this year based on our results. So we probably have about 10 or so club swimmers right now. So meaning about 30 are not club swimmers. Would love for as many kids as we could to get on a club team, because really the way high school swimming works, you're never really going to be where you want to be if you're just swimming for these 3 months out of the year.
Coach Wilson isn't new to the sport. He comes to Plymouth with years of experience as a Division I swimmer at Providence College and assistant coach at Barnstable High School.
Young enough that I can relate to some of these kids and kind of keep things loose and keep things fun, but at the same time still have that level of respect.
Congratulations to the Plymouth swimmers on a successful first season. We're sure to see a lot more of them next year. Reporting for Panther TV, I'm Tyler Spicer.
Right now, we would normally be in the first week of spring sports, but this year we're in the midst of a new season called Fall 2. Here's Panther TV's Nick Ahern with the story.
COVID concerns in the fall and winter led to the MIAA postponing several sports, but instead of canceling them altogether, they implemented a new February through April season known as Fall 2.
In a normal year, football season kicks off in the August heat, but this year, athletes found themselves preparing for a different season outside. But the fact that there even is a season outweighs the chilly days for many, like senior quarterback Hunter Dean.
It feels awesome, thinking with COVID, none of us really thought football was going to happen, but now that it's happening, I think that it's going to boost us and come out ready to play, just knowing that we didn't have that fall season.
After a big season in 2019, as underdogs making it all the way up to Gillette, Dean feels that they have an added confidence heading into a new season, but they know the competition will be tough.
Yeah, so being the underdog last year really pumped us up for this year, because no one thought we could do what we did last year, and now we just have to defend that we're not the underdog anymore and that people are going to be ready to come after us, so we just have to be ready for that.
Football isn't the only team braving the weather this winter. Winter track, typically held indoors, is now all outside. Instead of traveling to Boston for the meets at the Reggie Lewis Center, these athletes will compete virtually against their opponents from right here at Plymouth South. Still, seniors say it's better than no season at all.
It won't be as fun, probably, because we won't be going to Reggie. But it'll be fine.
While athletes are happy to be back on the track and field, fans will still have to miss out on this season.
It stinks because the fan section is a huge part of the football games, and the fan section is also a wicked fun part of the football games, and we hype up the team. But now that we can't hype up the team, who knows how that'll go.
While student fans won't be allowed at the games, the dance and cheer teams are also a part of the Fall 2 seasons and will be in attendance supporting the Panthers. Although this year has been strange for everyone, and even the season is a bit different, returning to what the athletes love is very refreshing. As an athlete myself, being with the team and feeling the practice energy has made it all worth it. Reporting for Panther TV, I'm Nick Ahern.
For most of us, 2020 and 2021 have been very eye-opening. From the difference of school this year from last, masks and separation from peers is leaving many students in hope for a change. Savannah Lyons has more on students' thoughts on the changes in school this year.
For more than half the school year, we've adjusted our different schedules due to COVID-19. While the new system was a huge change from the norm, students are working around it and looking towards the positives during this hectic time, which is all helping us move forward.
For 6 months now, we've been on a new school schedule, going in person only twice a week. For some, not seeing friends in class and knowing they're at home while you in school is hard to cope with. But it's better than not being here at all.
Overall, it's really sad because I have a lot of best friends on the other cohort and I'm in marketing, so I feel like we're all a big family and our family's just split apart and it's really sad.
It's sad because I definitely have some very close friends in the other group, but I don't mind it. I still do have some close friends in the group I'm in now.
I mean, I definitely have more friends in the other group, but it's still fine. I still get to see my friends a lot.
As we work together to get through this pandemic, crowded hallways and cafeterias are things of the past. But coming together as a whole is what we have focused on these past few months. While some don't like the current schedule, others have found some positives.
Definitely do not like it. I'm the type of person that loves school, and only going 2 days a week has really taken a turn on learning, but I mean, it is what it is and it's no one's fault.
I definitely like it more, mostly because I get to work and sleep in and get all my work done pretty easy and fast.
I like them a lot because I don't mind going to school. It's definitely not one of my favorite things though, so going 2 days is a lot more better for me.
The hybrid model is something new for everyone, but teachers are doing their absolute best to help students succeed and work to the best of our ability.
The workload actually isn't that bad. We have a lot of more free time to do our work when we're not in school, so I feel like the workload is much less than it was before.
I think they gave a good amount of work. just feel like we had like a lot of time to do it, so it definitely made it way easier.
Balancing school and work during COVID has been good for some. Besides having more time to study into themselves, students have found they're able to save money by working more.
I like it just because I can get more hours in and, make more money and still be doing school.
In the summer, I used to work 4 to 5 days a week, and once school started, I didn't really need to change it, so I'm still doing that, which I definitely like.
We are all adapting to the evolving changes in daily life caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The changes in school this year has a major impact on many students. 6 feet apart desks in the cafeteria, and masks on faces is hard to deal with, but it's very important that there's guidance, teachers, and administration there for you during these difficult times. Reporting for Panther TV, I'm Savannah Lyons.
We have all missed out on a lot over the last year, but it's the seniors who have seen nearly all of the big events you look forward to in the last year of high school canceled or put on hold indefinitely. Here's Panther TV's Emma Pollock with more.
This past school year has been like no other. Knowing that it's graduation year for the class of 2021 hasn't hit yet for some seniors. Nobody imagined a senior year being only in school for 2 days and 3 days remote. Even through these tough times, the class of 2021 has shown great resilience, even though their time at Plymouth South is coming to a close.
On March 13th, 2020, thoughts ran throughout students' minds. It almost felt like a vacation, but soon that vacation turned into months.
So on March 13th, when the announcements went off at the end of the day, I was a little bit confused with what was going on, but I was kind of excited because at the end of the day, we kind of heard that we were getting like a mini vacation almost, but like as we know now, that vacation turned into quite a few months. So yeah, it was very interesting to say the least.
Everyone dreams of their senior year, but nobody dreamed of one like this. No prom, no Oktoberfest, no Friday night lights, lunch in the auditorium, and masks on the whole day. This year for the seniors is one for the history book.
Senior class hasn't been able to experience a prom yet their junior year. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff that we haven't gotten to do either. I mean, there's no more football games. We can't like attend it and be like a fan section anymore because of COVID. We haven't had homecoming, and also Oktoberfest is a big part, which we haven't been able to do yet.
As Fall 2 begins, and we are on the final stretch for the seniors, football games with no fan section will be very odd.
So I do cheer, and I'm part of Fall 2, which has been like so different than, like the normal fall season just because it's taking place in like the middle of the spring. I'm honestly happy that we even get to have Fall 2 because I didn't think that we were going to have cheer. So it's been super nice, and I'm happy to get back into it, but it also has been like so odd because it's cold out and we have to do like the 6 feet social distancing thing. And there's a lot like new guidelines, especially because cheer is like such a contact sport. But I'm just happy to like get back into it, and I'm hoping that it'll go pretty well. So
with nothing being normal this year, it hasn't been easy.
I think the hardest thing about this year, especially as a senior, is not being able to go to school with like people you've gone to school with your whole life. Like I have friends in like the other cohort who I've gone to school with since I was in like kindergarten, and I can't go to school with them this year. So it's like missing that closure and just like spending that last year of school with like your closest friends has been kind of tough.
As the months of May and June come approaching fast, we just want to say a huge thank you to all the staff members and parents who have made this year quite special for the class of 2021 despite COVID-19 restrictions and guidelines. This senior year has been one for the history book. Reporting for Panther TV, I'm Emma Pollock.
That's our time for today. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great day, Plymouth South.